Simple interest. Understanding the concept. This is Ram. He is worried. He wants to start a business, but he does not have the money to start it. Where can he get the money from? Well, Ram can apply for a loan. What's a loan? It's money that Ram can borrow, but Ram has to pay it back too. Does Ram have to only return the money he has borrowed? Not exactly. Ram also has to pay back a little extra. Huh? What is that little extra? It's a fee for letting you use the money when you wanted it. That fee is called interest. What is interest? The extra amount or fee that you have to pay the bank for using their money is called interest. Let's go over that again. The extra amount or fee that you have to pay the bank for using their money is called interest. Remember, nothing in life is free. If the bank helps you out, they are going to charge you for it. Now, Ram knows that too. So, what is a loan? A loan is the amount of money that we borrow from a bank. We borrow the money. The bank is not gifting it to us. We have to pay it back. Do we just pay back the borrowed money? Nope. We pay back that and some extra money as a fee for getting that money. That additional money that you have to pay back is called interest. The money that you have borrowed is called principal. The money that you return is called the amount. What are the terms that we just saw? Principal, the money that you borrow. Interest, the charge for borrowing the money. Amount, the money that you return. Amount is equal to principal plus interest. Few more banking terms that you should know. Period. How long you are borrowing the money. We usually talk about period in years. Rate of interest. How much extra you have to pay for every 100 rupees that you borrow for every year that you borrow it. Got it? Let's go over that again. Period is how long you are borrowing the money. We usually talk about period in years. Rate of interest. How much extra you have to pay for every 100 rupees that you borrow for every year that you borrow it. We usually talk about rate in percent per annum. What is percent per annum? Percent is equal to per 100. Per annum is equal to per year. Percent per annum is written as p.c.p.a in short. So the terms you need to know are principal, rate of interest, period, interest, and amount. We have short forms for each term. Remember those two. Principal is known as P, rate of interest is R, period is N, interest is I, and amount is A. Also remember the units. Principal is always in rupees. Rate of interest is p.c.p.a. Period N is years. Interest I is rupees. And the amount A is rupees. Now let's see something. Shamrao borrowed rupees 20,000 from a bank to buy a scooter. When he paid back his loan after 2 years, he gave the bank an amount of rupees 24,000. Write what these quantities are. Principal, amount, period, and interest. We know that principal P is rupees 20,000 because Shamrao borrowed rupees 20,000 from a bank. The amount he paid back is A is rupees 24,000 because it's given that after 2 years he gave the bank an amount of rupees 24,000. The period N is 2 years. That's right. The interest I is therefore rupees 4,000. How did we get that? Rupees 24,000 minus rupees 20,000. Because amount is equal to principal plus interest. Therefore, interest is equal to amount minus principal. Let's move ahead. Rahman borrowed rupees 25,000 from a bank. After 3 years, he returned rupees 32,500 to the bank, which included both the loan and the interest. Write what these quantities are. The principal P is obviously rupees 25,000. Amount A is given as rupees 32,500. Period N is given as 3 years. And the interest is therefore amount is equal to principal plus interest. Therefore, interest is equal to amount minus principal. Is therefore rupees 7,500. Let's move on. Manik Bin took a loan of rupees 8,000 from the Women's Cooperative Society and returned an amount of rupees 8,480 to the society after 6 months. Write down what these quantities are. Principal, amount, period and interest. We can see that the principal is rupees 8,000. The amount is rupees 8,480. Period N is 6 months. And the interest is rupees 480. The period N is 6 months, which is half year. The interest is rupees 8,480 minus rupees 8,000, which is 480. Let's move on. Geeta wanted to buy a computer, so she borrowed rupees 30,000 from a bank. After 2 years, she returned rupees 30,560 to the bank. Write what these quantities are. Principal, obviously rupees 30,000. Amount A, rupees 30,560. That's the amount she returned. Period is 2 years. Obviously it's given. The interest is interest equal to amount minus principal. Therefore it is 560. Right. Let's move on. Ram borrowed rupees 7,500 from a bank. After 6 months, he returned rupees 8,700 to the bank. Calculate the interest paid by Ram to the bank. Let's find out what these quantities are. The principal P is rupees 7,500. Amount A is equal to, he returned rupees 8,700. So rupees 8,700. Period is 6 months. After 6 months, right? So 6 months, which is half a year. And the interest I is equal to amount minus principal, which is 8,700 minus 7,500, which is equal to, correct, 1,200. Let's move on. Quickly now. Ramesh returned rupees 6,980, which included rupees 560 as interest to a bank in a year. Calculate the loan taken by Ramesh. Okay, so we have been given that the amount is rupees 6,980. The interest is rupees 560. Now, what do we have to find out? We have to calculate the loan taken by Ramesh. The loan taken by Ramesh is the principal. Correct. So we have to find out the principal. And what is the formula for principal? Amount is equal to principal plus interest. So we know 6,980 is equal to principal plus 560. Therefore, principal is equal to 6,980 minus 560, which is equal to 6,420. Therefore, the loan taken by Ramesh is 6,420. Apples or oranges? None. Rupees. So, the loan taken by Ramesh was rupees 6,420. Okay. Now that you're comfortable with banking terms, let us move ahead. If you have to calculate the interest, what do you need to know? The principal, which is how much money has been borrowed. The period, which is how long before returning it. The rate of interest, which is how much to pay per 100 per year. Let's understand what rate of interest means in a better way. If the rate of interest is 8 p.c.p.a, what does it mean? It means if you have borrowed rupees 100 for 1 year, you have to pay rupees 8 as interest. If the rate of interest is 10 p.c.p.a, what does it mean? It means if you have borrowed rupees 100 for 1 year, you have to pay rupees 10 as interest. If the rate of interest is 14 p.c.p.a, what does it mean? It means if you have borrowed rupees 100 for 1 year, you have to pay rupees 14 as interest. If the rate of interest is 12 p.c.p.a, what does it mean? It means if you have borrowed rupees 100 for 1 year, you have to pay rupees 12 as interest. If the rate of interest is 8 p.c.p.a, let's draw a table. We write for rupees, for years, and interest rupees. And for the first year we write for rupees 100, for years 1, interest is 8. For rupees 100 for year 2, the interest is 16. For rupees 100 for years 3, the interest is 24. For rupees 100 for years 4, the interest is 32. For rupees 100 for years 1, the interest is 8. For rupees 200 for years 1, the interest is 16. For rupees 300 for years 1, the rate of interest is 24. For rupees 400 for years 1, the interest is 32. So for 100 rupees for 2 years, the interest is 8 into 2, which is 16. For rupees 200 for 2 years, the interest is 16 into 2, which is 32. For rupees 300 for 2 years, the interest is 24 into 2, which is 48. For rupees 400 for 2 years, the interest is 32 into 2, which is 64. What did you just observe? If the rate of interest is the same but the principal increases, then the interest increases. Period increases, then the interest increases. What will the interest on rupees 100 be after 3 years at the rate of 12 p.c.p.a? P is equal to rupees 100. N is 3 years. R is 12 p.c.p.a. For 1 year, for rupees 100, I is equal to rupees 12. So, for 3 years, I is equal to rupees 12 into 3, which is rupees 36. I is equal to P into N into R upon 100. This is the formula for interest. You have to remember this formula forever. I is equal to P into N into R upon 100. I is equal to P into N into R upon 100. I equal to P into N into R upon 100. Remember this formula. What will the interest on rupees 100 be after 2 years at the rate of 8 p.c.p.a? P is equal to 100, N is equal to 2 years, R is equal to 8 p.c.p.a. For 1 year, for rupees 100, I is rupees 8. So, for 2 years, I equal to rupees 8 into 2, which is rupees 16. I equal to P into N into R upon 100. So, P is 100 into 2 into 8 upon 100, which is equal to 100 and 100 cancels. So, rupees 8 into 2, which is rupees 16. What will the interest on rupees 100 be after 4 years at the rate of 10 p.c.p.a? P is rupees 100, N is 4 years, R is 10 p.c.p.a. I equal to P into N into R upon 100, which is 100 into 4 into 10 upon 100. 100 ones are cancels out. We have 4 into 10, which is rupees 40. What will the interest on rupees 200 be after 3 years at the rate of 8 p.c.p.a? P is equal to rupees 200, N is 3 years, R is 8 p.c.p.a. I equal to P into N into R upon 100, which is 200 into 3 into 8 upon 100. So 100 ones are 100, 100 twos are 200. So the answer is 2 into 3 into 8, which is rupees 48. What will the interest on rupees 400 be after 5 years at the rate of 12 p.c.p.a? P is rupees 400, N is 5 years, R is 12 p.c.p.a. We remember the formula I equal to P into N into R upon 100. So 400 into 5 into 12 upon 100. 100 ones are 100, 100 fours are 400. So the answer is 4 into 5 into 12. 4 into 5 is 20. 20 into 12 is 240. So the answer is rupees 240. The formula to calculate interest is I equal to P into N into R upon 100, where I is equal to the interest, P is the principal, N is the number of years, R is the rate of interest. As you can see, there are 4 things out of which 3 will always be given, and 1 is to be found out. Look at all the formulas. Finding interest is I equal to P into N into R upon 100. Finding the rate is R is equal to I into 100 upon P into N. Finding the period is N is equal to I into 100 upon P into R. Finding principal is P is equal to I into 100 upon R into N. Can you see a pattern in the other formulas? Let's see. Everywhere the numerator is I into 100. The denominator has the other 2 terms. And that's all. Easy, isn't it? So if you see, for R, numerator is I into 100. And the denominator has the other 2 terms, which is P into N. For N, the numerator is the same, I into 100. And the denominator is the other 2 terms, which is P into R. For P, the numerator again remains the same, I into 100. The denominator is the other 2 terms, R into N. Simple. The interest on rupees 1500 for 3 years is rupees 360. What is the rate of interest? P is equal to rupees 1500. N is 3 years. I is rupees 360. What is R? We know R is equal to I into 100, which is common, upon the other 2 terms, which is P into N. So we get 360 into 100 upon 1500 into 3. 100 ones are 100, 100 15s are 1500, 3 ones are 3, 320 times is 360, 15 ones are 15, and 15 eights are 120. So we have 8 into 1 upon 1 into 1. So it's 8 p.c.p.a. What is p.c.p.a? Percent per annum. What is the rate of interest if the interest on rupees 4500 for 2 years is rupees 720? P is given as rupees 4500. N is given as 2 years. I is given as rupees 720. R is what? We have to find it out. R is I into 100 upon P into N. So we have 720 into 100 upon 4500 into 2. 100 ones are 100. 145 times is 4500. 2 ones are 2. 2 into 360 is 720. 5 nines are 45. And 572 times is 360. 9 ones are 9. 9 eights are 72. So we have the answer as 8% per annum. If the interest on rupees 5000 in 8 years is rupees 5000, what is the rate of interest? P is rupees 5000, N is 8 years, interest is rupees 5000. R is question mark. R is I into 100 upon P into N. So 5000 into 100 upon 5000 into 8. 5000 ones are, 5000 ones are, and 4 twos are 8, and 4 25s are 100. So we have 25 upon 2, which is 12.5% per annum. Vishy took a loan of rupees 10,000. If he returned rupees 12,700 after 3 years, what is the rate of interest? P is equal to rupees 10,000. N is 3 years. A is rupees 12,700. What is rate of interest? I into 100 upon P into N. So we have to first get I. I is, we know, amount minus principal. So we have 12,700 minus 10,000, which is 2,700 rupees. So R is 2,700 into 100 upon 10,000 into 3. So 100 ones are 100, 100 times is 10,000, 100 ones are 100, 127 times is 2,700, 3 ones are 3, 3 nines are 27. So the answer is 9% per annum. In how many years will the interest on rupees 2,500 be rupees 1,350 at 9 p.c.p.a? Let's understand this problem. We know that the principal is rupees 2,500. We know that the rate of interest is 9% per annum. We know that the interest is rupees 1,350. So we have to find out in how many years, which is the period, which is N. So N is I into 100 upon P into R, which is 1,350 into 100 upon 2,500 into 9. So 100 ones are 100, 125 times is 2,500, 9 ones are 9, and 9 150 times is 1,350, 25 ones are 25, 25 6 is 150. So the answer is 6 what? 6 years. In how many years will the interest on rupees 1,000 be rupees 200 at 8 p.c.p.a? We know that the principal is rupees 1,000. The rate of interest is 8% per annum. I is rupees 200. N is what? N is I into 100 upon P into R, which is 200 into 100 upon 1000 into 8, which eventually comes to 5 upon 2. So it is 2.5 what? Years. In how many years will the interest on rupees 10,000 be rupees 12,600 at 18% per annum? P is rupees 10,000. R is 18 p.c.p.a. I, the interest, is rupees 12,600. What do we have to find? In how many years? Which is the period. So we have to find the period. We know the formula. N is equal to I into 100 upon P into R, which is 12,600 into 100 upon 10,000 into 18. 100 ones are 100, 100 times is 10,000, 100 ones are 100, 126 times is 12,600, 18 ones are 18, 18 sevens are 126. So the answer is 7 years. Find the principal when the interest is rupees 36 for 3 years at the rate of interest of 3 p.c.p.a. Now find the principals. We have to say P is what? Question mark. We know the interest is rupees 36. R, which is the rate of interest, is 3 p.c.p.a. and the period is given as 3 years, which is N. So we have the formula for P, which is I into 100 upon N into R, which is 36 into 100 upon 3 into 3. 3 ones are 3, 3 12s are 36, 3 ones are 3, 3 4s are 12. So 4 into 100 is rupees 400. What is the principal for which you can earn rupees 1200 as interest in 3 years at the rate of 8 p.c.p.a? I is rupees 1200. It's given. Rate of interest is given as 8 p.c.p.a. N is given as 3 years. The principle is P is equal to I into 100 upon N into R, which is equal to 1200 into 100 upon 8 into 3. After solving it, we get the answer as 5000 what? Years, p.c.p.a or rupees? Rupees. So the answer is 5000 rupees. Find the principal when the interest is rupees 1800 for 15 years at the rate of 8 p.c.p.a. We have the interest as rupees 1800, R as 8 p.c.p.a, N is 15 years. The principal is what? Principal is interest into 100 upon N into R, which is equal to 1800 into 100 upon 15 into 8. To solving it, we get the answer as 1500 what? Rupees. That's right. So the answer is 1500 rupees. And that brings us to the end of this lesson.